fuck? Hello. How are you? Hat looking nice and clean. I still want to get a pin, but I think I need to go to like Hot Topic or Spencer's or something for that. I just don't have the time right now. I can look at work tomorrow and see, but you know, for right now, I just sorry, I just helped him. Puff shirt. The fuck is a puff shirt? Anyways, I just helped him build, obviously. The next tower's up here. Ooh. No, it's not. Next tower's over here. Where the fuck am I going? I just remember that I still haven't gone. I'm not going to the Great Sky Island next and get whatever's in that dispenser. I think that would be a good idea. Good thing. I like avoiding fights whenever possible. Because though the resources are good, I don't want to deal with it right now. Hello. That means that a blood moon is coming soon. Because that is a pretty full moon. Obviously it's not, it's like almost full, but a blood moon is definitely coming soon. Oh my god. Bro, learn how to do shit. At all. What the actual fuck? Is this the same, like, clouded area from before? No, I don't think so. Oh, I do want to go over here at some point, though. I need one more, like, power. Oh, so you're not... I don't know if you're a real chest. These give me electrical arrows. Sunday lions. I love these things. And they will help me achieve my overall goal. Oh. Jesus. Light. Oh my god, I can have headlights. I can have headlights on a car. How do I get more energy cells? I don't actually know. Craft energy cells? It's kind of like my only theory. You know. Oh. I can't tell what that is. Is that the Forbidden Forest, maybe? It's my only kind of thought right now. Because the other area, I mean, is over here too, but... Oh my god. Seriously, Link. Chill the fuck out. interesting. This is like world border. Hi, Pa. Fart. Did you fart? You farted, didn't you? Congrats on first, by the way. You farted. We can smell it. We can smell it. God, you bro made to say a funny word. Man, you totally got me. Yeah, that's what I do. Oh wow, look, light. Totally got me, dude. When do you stream, bud? I'm a join. Can't believe you freaking fell for it. I know, man. I can't believe it either. I can't believe I did that. So what did this game expect me to do? Cause like, this is the only way I know how to like get light in a dark place. Oh, and luminous stone. Oh, look at that. Anyways. Which way was I going? I guess I can. Whoops. I guess I can go this way. Why do I keep? I don't know why I keep doing that. I don't move. Neither does that wall. Come on, this has gotta be the one with the key, right? Gullible is written on the ceiling. Oh my god. Dude. I don't know if we ever made a video of it, but we legitimately wrote Gullible on the ceiling when I was living in Illinois. It was the crewmates. It was Zach, Vaughn, Alex, Maggie, and I. Everybody in Illinois. And, we had written Gullible, literally, on the ceiling. And Vaughn was like, what? No, it's not. Oh. He actually didn't, no, he didn't even look. He's like, nah. Nah. Nah, it's not. Brother. We're like, you'd be the one to believe that Gullible is written on the fucking ceiling. He's like, no. No, it's not. Huh? We're like, yeah. It was great. It was genuinely super fucking funny. But I don't think we ever, I don't remember ever actually recording that. Which is kind of sad. Fart is written on the ceiling. Damn it, dude, I looked. Damn it. No, I still haven't gotten the key. Fuck. I still haven't gotten it. Where the fuck else do I go? I thought I made it through this entire fucking thing. Really not. Evidently. Oh. Okay, well, yeah, obviously I haven't yet, because I haven't been up here yet. Oh my god. So, okay, why would you spotlight it just to have, like, I gotta keep looking up, I guess, for more platforms like that. Ugh. When are you gonna play a game with me and then definitely hear my voice for sure this time? For surezies. Man, name a game, I'll see if I got it or if I can buy it, and we'll go from there. Because at this point, I think you lie. Dark Souls? Oh, well, that's not even... That's... What? That's not a game we can play together. My bow is badly damaged. Oh, is it? I mean... Why are those spikes in the shape of a ladder? Oh, no, okay. Like, what the fuck? But I can't tell if there's something up there or not. I don't think there's any way to get up there either. Where's the platform? That was just on. No, there's no way to get up there. Okay, so there can't be anything up there. There's no way to get there. Is there a way to get up there, maybe? Hold up. There is. Just turn around. Dark Souls is co-op? Maybe not crossplay? Co-op. Do you have one of the game stations I have? Fuck. Up here. Why did I jump over there? I don't even know. I don't know why I did that. Oh, wait, hold up. Key! Please, for God. Thank fucking God. Thank fucking God, dude. Up until that point, I had no fucking idea where I could go. And I had no idea why there was just a moving wall right there. I have A. Man, that's... me too. So do I. I have a... Yeah. Yeah. Is it actually co-op? I didn't actually know. I know Elden Ring is co-op. I'm aware of that. I don't have it, but I am aware of that. That actually might be crossplay too. Come to think of it. Oh, what, Britt? That's very unhelpful. Man, you're right. I'm sorry. Do you have a Switch? Play it on Switch. Got PlayStation? I can play it on PlayStation. Oh, wait, actually, unless crossplay doesn't, like, is crossplay, like, indicative to, like, PS4, PS5 as well? Is that also crossplay? I don't actually know. I have no Switch. I have a PlayStation, but no Souls on it. I don't even have a Soul. I don't have an Xbox. Zandy does. Maybe I'll be able to steal her Xbox for a bit. But the same question is, like, Xbox One and Xbox Series X indicative to crossplay, or is it like the same system? These are valuable questions. Demon's Souls and Bloodborne? I don't have either. On what? On what? Oh, I'm gonna die here. Oh, I'm not gonna die here. I know. I guess not. I guess not. Maybe one day. This actually might be... This might be the forest that I was talking about. Alright, I fucking hate this shit. Oh, okay. Hello? It isn't working.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's something to do with the tower itself that's broke. Like what? God damn it. I fucking hate this. Ugh. I don't think I was this close to hopping in comments before you said I smell. Did I say that? I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember. I don't remember saying that, but that does sound like something I'd say. Dude, why can't I grab it? It's right there. Why can't I fucking grab it? These things don't make any sense to me. They don't make any fucking sense. Hi. Bye-bye. Play a horror game with me and get scared. Get scared. Excuse me. I love horror games. I mean, I'd be down. I'd be super down for a horror game. Oh, hello. Oh, you fucking piece of shit. You absolute fucking piece of shit. What the fuck? So maybe I can just do that. Oh my god. That should work, right? Every time I scream, you have to hot sauce? I have hot sauce right now? I think I do. Actually, I think I have habanero hot sauce. So, I mean, it is something I can do. I have homemade hot sauce. Somebody at work made it for me. He's fucking awesome. Shout out Mr. Fedrick. He's fucking great. Take a shot of habanero vodka? What the fuck is habanero vodka? It sounds like it would be the most unpleasant fucking shit in the world, bro. Sounds like it would be the most unpleasant, terrible time. Like, actually. It's the devil? Yeah, I can fucking imagine. Give me a moment. I will be right back. I'm gonna get some chalky milk. Anybody want any? Hello. I'm back. Check him out. This is a huge container, by the way. I don't know if I'm gonna drink all of it. I probably shouldn't. But this is my snack. It's malty and amazing. Genuinely. It's good. It's called Promised Land. It's Sandy's favorite. She introduced me to it. I mean, I want to go here. But then I want to go to Hitano Village. What the fuck is that? Oh, I can look at the map now. Yeah, that's what this is. That's the grayed out area. Okay, so this is the hidden forest. Why is it covered in black shroud? It wasn't before. That's so weird. I can imagine that is at the very top or the very bottom. Right there in the middle. No, it's not right there in the middle. Very top I go. I don't know what that is in the middle. Yeah, this is the chair. I was right. Biting meal. What is a biting meal? Grants an attack power boost. Okay, cool. Attack boost for 10 minutes. That's pretty neat. I can do that.
He managed to restrain him somehow.
If I go into the depths.
But Link, I am not sure you'll be able to stop him.
That's kind of rude. This is where you grabbed the sword from me. Interesting. We're both in the same place right now.
The Master Sword. The Master Sword.
He's screaming.
You're
He's
telling
in
me
shit.
that Link is safe? You traveled through time to find me and recover your strength.
Zelda, I believe there is a reason you were sent to us. It has to mean something.
To give me
I
a more
know why I
powerful
am
Master
here.
Sword?
It's something only I can do.
Really?
We will finally stop him.
To become an immortal dragon is to lose oneself.
You're gonna be a dragon?
I'll be forever changed.
Okay.
Link! You must find me.
How? You just said that you're gonna become a dragon. These nuts? How am I supposed to find that? Memories have been added to the memories log. Okay. Cool, thanks. But like, how in God's name am I supposed to find you? That doesn't make any sense to me. I want to find Hateno Village. I want to go back to the Gorons. Oh, interesting. To, fix Yonobu. But first, I want to go to Hateno Village. Because I really want to dye my hood yellow. Something that I wanted to do forever. With her. Or for her. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, no, I can't do it with that, apparently. What the fuck is sludging? I know I have more up here somewhere. I didn't notice it before. Not that I wanted to, anyways, apparently. Okay. I want to go to Hateno Village. Now, wherever that tower is, I'll figure it out. I think it's... What am I facing? I think it's down here. Oh, fuck. Where's the tower for the... What are they called? Zora. Shows a marked spot. Where could that be? Oh. Okay. Oops. Okay, thanks. Cool, I don't really care. Fucking, I want the tower for that bitch. I don't see it. Where am I right now? Unless I already got it. Oh no, I did. Oh my god. Zepho? Is that what they're called? No. Zora, I was right. Zepho is Star Wars. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Back. I'm back here. It is Zora. Zora. Hello. Oh. Where's your king? Hey, man. Did the king die? With Link accompanying me, I told the gathered Zora of Mipha's fate. The throne room was filled with sobs and angry shouts, but King Dorephan quieted everyone when he spoke, offering a simple, soft thank you. His words felt like he was giving me permission, even telling me to move on, to not be held prisoner to the past. That's Zelda saying that. Ew. What in God's name? Wasn't that supposed to be Mipha? They just cleaned it. Oh, I'm Link.
Whoa. Yes.
That's me. Oh, and his very best friend. Oh, that's cute. I'm Link.
Yes. Whoa.
Yona, caretaker of the Zora.
Sure. Whoa.
The sludge-covered statue. Okay. King Dorephan's just not a thing, I guess. Rude. Mogawak. imagine it's supposed to go here. This is just me being me, you know. I need more, for me, I need more planks. Obviously, I need more planks. Sheet. Like, what am I supposed to do here? There's balls. Alright. Oh, chain balls. Ball chain. Ball chain. Chain balls. Balls chained. Okay. So I guess I figured out what every puzzle is, but I did not figure out how to fix every puzzle. No. God fucking piece of... No? Anymore? Okay. So that's not it then. So you most likely definitely go there. I think that this is the first puzzle I need. Use. Damn it. No. Can't use my devices. Dang. I mean, obviously, it would be cheating, but... I guess it's like, what is that powering? Hold up. I guess that's just not a thing I can do. No, it's not. Yeah, no. Okay. Fine. This might be the last thing, then. Because I see, that's the end. So that's probably the last thing I need to do. Is there anything to the first thing I need to do? No. So what do I do? I just realized. I was down hard, so I don't know how I didn't realize that. Okay. No. What else is over here in the ball chain? Nothing. Nothing else is over here except for ball chain. So what do I do? What do I do with ball chain? It's the only other thing here that I can grab is this thing. This thing isn't fucking helpful. So I can attach it here and then... Yes. No, nothing. So what is... Unless it needs charge and this can charge it? Yes. That's exactly it. Is the juice depleting already? No, I don't think so. Like, is it depleting without me doing anything? No. Ugh. This is so fucking annoying that I need to charge it every fucking time. This is so fucking annoying. No, son of a piece of shit. Oh, it's gonna run out, and then I know not to do that. Hurry up and run out, bro. What the fuck? What the shit? Hurry up and run out. There it goes. Jesus Christ, that lasts a while. Oh my god. Good to know, at least. I can't believe I was looking for more planks when that was so easy. It's kind of sad. There. Okay. Good to know. Okay. Done now. Don't even remember what I got from that chest. So I was so confused. Excuse me. Sorry. is the... Like, I know I can pray. Where? These are just beds. Yeah, there's no clues here. Okay. Still no clues here. There's gotta be a prayer statue, I just don't know where. Oh, more stamina. What the actual fuck? Oh, okay. Like, what? Down here, maybe? Oh, wait. I was literally just here. One day. God damn it. That was the stupidest shit I've ever done. Okay. Maybe not the stupidest, but you know, it's pretty up there. Anecdote 2. Okay. Item was entrusted with the great task of renovating the Zora stone monuments that had fallen to ruin. There are 11 stone monuments in total, found in and around Zora's domain, including the one you were reading. The former text written by my father, King Dorfin, could not be salvaged, and so sadly it had to be replaced. Despite my royal blood, whispers abound that it is improper for someone my age to write over the king's glorious words. But do they not realize that it was King Dorfin himself who ordered me to undertake this restoration project? Father says it is not yet set in stone, that I shall be the one to inherit the throne, and it is not a matter of blood alone. We ask the eternal skies. Okay, I don't care. Sorry. This is entirely too much. I don't want to read. Playing a video game. I don't want to read.
Oh.
Hi. Is this King Dorfin's throne? I don't know. I want to go somewhere though. I don't know why I did that. Okay, nothing in the base. That's kind of sad. Anyways. Oh, holy waterfall. Ahoy! Waterfall. Stamina mushroom. Thankful. Both are amazing. Sorry. I did take a nap. I'm just still tired, I guess. I don't know. Don't know why. you away from me too. God damn it. Venus Mountain. What are you? Glowing cavefish. That's cool. I want to go back now though. I get it, as I got the discovery, but like also trying to do something here. I can't swim upstream. It's really sad. I really want to. Oh, fuck me. Okay. There we go. Sorry, I'm like, oh my god, I need to fucking sneeze. Oh, are you getting cold? It's getting there. It's getting there. I'm into cold paints. Because it is, in fact, getting there. Oh my god. God damn it. No, I did not notice that I was trudging in sludge. Trudging and sludging. Oh my god. Maybe that shrine is where I need to be. It's possible. Are you Zelda? Are you? Hey Zelda. Ooh. Are you absolutely fucking kidding me? Ugh. First of all, do that. Second of all, do that. Oh my god, really? I don't want glow on right now. There! Jesus fucking Christ. Shit. Of course this game makes me need to deal with more fucking enemies. Those fucks. What in God's name is going on? You guys fighting the Chimera right now? Where's that shrine? There it is. Oh, well, okay. Fucking jackass. Boy. Not sure. This sledge takes a lot out of a person mid-air perch. Oh. Okay. Okay. Oops. Okay, it didn't. Oh no, you fucking piece of shit. You didn't fucking jump, Link. Would have easily made it the first time. Easily made it the first time. Attach. Go. Don't really care about the chest. I kinda care, but not enough. Oh, you did not. You did not. You did not. Oh, you fucking piece of trash. God damn it. Swear to God, Link. Christ. That could have been really bad if I just did. If I cared just a little bit more, I could have gotten that chest, but oh well. It's fine. Why do you not work? Unless you're like 6 inches away from me. That's what I was waiting for. Where is the prayer statue, bro? And I'm 6 of these bitches. Where's the statue? What's up, bro? I'm your best friend.
Is it really you?
Hi. Hey, Sidon, something. I mean,
It's good to see you, my friend.
thanks. You too. Just fucking. God damn it, dude. The fact that chat doesn't refresh every time is really fucking annoying. Whatever could you have transpired?
No!
Mm-hmm. Does not seem that Princess Zelda's whereabouts might be related to this flooding. Okay. Speak of the story in Giotto. Total lake. Hi, Mifa. Hello. Okay. Oops. Sorry, buddy, I ain't gonna help you. Not right now. Fuck. Where do I go for this fucking tower, bro? That's what I want. Hello. Jesus. Oh, wait. Over here? Is this way where, Nintendo Village is? It's gotta be, right? I teleport back here at any point, so I don't really care. And one Nintendo Village! I also really just want to get my map done before I do any main quests, honestly. I know I have a lot of them. I'm aware that I have a lot of them. And I just keep opening up more. I'm quite aware. I just... Ugh. Weird. I wanna just, you know, keep going. I glided at the end. I glided at the end. I glided. I fucking glided. Bro, I'm gonna crash out of this fucking game at some point. Ugh. I'm gonna crash out. Hi, Mifa. Good to see you. Again, I guess. Okay. Well, at least this is a better takeoff point from what I had before. That's where I need to go. The red. That's where I need to be. Is that not... Is that not where the dragon was? I don't see the moon. So, I thought it was gonna be a blood moon, but oh, there it is. It's not gonna be a blood moon anytime soon, apparently. And that's where I fucking died, because fuck this place. Where's the Twin Peaks? Were those just, like, destroyed? In Calamity or something? Those Twin Peak Mountains things? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Hi. Oops. Oops, oops. Obviously, I want to go for Tenno Village, but I don't even know where the fuck to start. Other than getting this tower, which is going to prove to be difficult, apparently. I wish I still had Rito's power. Or, not Rito. What the fuck is his fucking name? I don't remember what his fucking name was. Convinced I didn't get a better spot because I didn't jump. Okay, well. At least. Game's being nice about giving me places to stand on the mountain. It's pretty nice. No, I don't know where the next spot is that I can do that. It is not raining. Why did you slip? Buddy, you need to not slip like that. It's not raining. It wasn't a slippery part of the rock. Why'd you do that? Maybe here. Yeah. Am I severely cold? Yeah, I am. Shit. kind of love those rocks, and I wanna travel up one of these times that I see it. So I feel like that would be really cool. But I have to see one fall like really fucking close to me. 'Cause I don't think the reverse time is gonna work on the one that I just saw fall. Okay. Oh, there's a ton falling. Go fuck yourself, bro. No, you're going all the way down the mountain. I'm not gonna fucking chase it. That was really sad. Stop fucking. Oops, oops, oops. I need to go this way. Yeah. Hit it from here? There's definitely something. Definitely something that I could attach to a bow that'll make it go farther. Or attach, not to a bow, to it. You know what I mean. Fucking goddamn it. This one? No. This. Barracuda. Where is it? Where did it go? There it is. One last try. Oh. Yikes. Okay, yeah, no. I guess I can get closer to it. I just, you know, whatever. I want to mark that puppy. Ooh, you saved. That's nice. Wasted a ton of arrows, but it's okay. Ah, shit. Cranberries, nice. I have to scale a mountain for this fucking tower. This is ridiculous. God damn it, I need Hateno Village, bro. That's literally why I'm doing this right now, is for Hateno Village. It's so sad. Yeah, I'm like, I better not need to fucking do anything else for this tower. And it officially says that I got it, I think, right? How many more do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're all at the bottom. I have the entire top of the map now. Wow. That's fucking pretty. Ugh. Anyways, give me fucking Hateno Village! Ooh, hello, Mr. Dragon. Or Mrs. Dragon, it might be fucking Zelda. I highly doubt Zelda's, like, shown. If she's a dragon right now, I highly doubt that she's shown. Cool. Dope. Thanks. Apparently not the entire top of the map. Where the fuck would Hateno Village be, bro? Look at, oh man. Oh my god. I'm trying to just see, oh okay, no. First of all, the fuck is Hateno Village? It would be like down this way, right? Oh no, maybe right there. Is that Hateno Village? Yeah. I think it is. Where's the observatory? Right there. And a dragon! Look at that. Bro. Look at the fucking dragon, bro. My house was here. I did have a house. That's the guy that I saw earlier. Hello? Dragon that I saw. Why is it so snowy? I hope it's not snowy in the village. I don't think it is. It didn't look like it, but like... God damn, I hate not being able to see shit, dude. I really fucking hate it. Okay, no, now it's just rainy. Oh. It's not even rainy anymore. What the fuck? It's fucking weird. Look at him. Hi. You're the one that I saved last time, right? Gotta be. He's so cute. Hello. So fucking majestic. He's not just cute, he's majestic. You can say, come find me a look at like fuck you. I thought you said you were back at that place now. Fucking hell, fucking hell. Why are there so many storms? Anyways. This is Hateno Village. This is where I wanted to be the entire fucking time. What time is it? 11:42. Okay, not bad. I already slept. I'm not gonna play past 2 o'clock, I don't think, because I do still have work. I know I said I took a nap, but like I've been having shit sleep. I should not be having shit sleep if I want to fucking live tomorrow at work. If I want to stay alive at work, I need to fucking chill. I know I've been fully obsessed with this game. And next week I have 3 days off, so I'm gonna balance this and personal work for my 3 days off, because I have 3 days off in a row, which is pretty fucking dope. Fuck. Holy shit. What in the fucking world? Yeah, can in fact just attach a ton of them to the fucking thing. Oh wait, I wonder if that'll just work. Will it get detached and just work? I wonder. No, it won't just work, but it's a good try. Attach. Attach. Okay. Attach a few. Now let's go back up. Oh, well, it will just kind of work. And fucking, I didn't notice. Oh. Hell yeah. Okay. Again, there's probably another chest in here. I honestly don't care. It's like, again, I do and I don't. Oh well. Ugh. I need... Statue to pray to. The fuck? Anyways, this is the dye shop. I need you. So bad. What the fuck? Potato Village is just fucking chilling, bro. Hi. Okay. Where's the parapet here? That's cool. I mean, I do want you to rework the parapet, actually. 20 rupees, that's fine. That'd be cool. I like it. Whee! Thanks, man. And now I want you to hold up. Remove. Remove. I want you to dye my hood. Oh my god. Dye these colors, please. Please dye. Yep. Choose a color. Yellow, please. Perfect. Only with these because this is what I used before. Nice. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted. Exactly what I wanted. Now, let's take this off, put this on, and let me see what I can dye this to be. I mean, I like the blue, I really do. I do. Easy. Easy. Give me dark blue. I'm okay with it. Hell yeah. Okay. I mean, this is what I'm wearing all the time, so I'm okay. Look at that, yellow. Oh, Madison would be so proud. Oh, that actually makes me so fucking happy. I don't really like the color yellow. I don't wear it. I don't know if you ever noticed. I do not wear the color yellow. I don't really wear the color green either, but you know, whatever. But I hate the color yellow. I do not wear it. I have I have trauma from wearing the color yellow. Not kidding. That's not actually a joke. It's real. Find him at the general store. Hey, hello. What if I do that? Oh, okay, whatever. Damn it. It sounds dumb. It sounds so stupid, but it's true. I have childhood trauma with the fucking, with the color yellow. It's the weirdest thing to say. Oh my god, you're all wearing that same fucking shit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Oh. Oh.
I'll take two.
Oh.
Thanks.
Oh.
Also take two.
Oh.
Thanks, man. Pumpkins.
Oh.
Oh, I'm gonna take a fucking pumpkin.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh.
Take them all. How about that?
Oh. Oh.
Here to sell whatever the fuck I got. Here. So all of them. Yes, please. Yes.
Oh.
Is that the only ore I have? I think I had amber. Did I not? Yeah, there it is.
Oh.
That's fine. I don't care too much.
Oh. Oh.
That's all. Thank you so much. Yeah, dude, this makes me so fucking happy that I have the yellow. Makes me so fucking happy. That's my home. Is this still my home? Is it still my house? Doesn't say anymore. My home. Hey, that's a durian. I think. That's where you find the durian, right? Bro. This is my house. I bought it. First page. Nice. Need a school. That's cool. Anyways. Fucking asshole. Fucking stole my house. Fucking. So bullshit. Fucking asshole. You can, like, clearly see that tower. That's crazy. He's so pretty. Shit. Okay. Oh my god. Bro, these fucking Koroks. Yeah, where's your fucking friend? Yeah, where? Oh, fuck no. Sorry, buddy. Not fucking happening. Sorry. You can deal with that shit yourself. Ain't fucking happening. Did I? But also... I did. But like... I know. Like this pin is for that tower. Like I'm aware of that. I'm like fully aware of that. Hello. Dude. I am genuinely so fucking happy that I was able to get a yellow hood for her. It's her favorite color. Hudson was so sweet about it. It's fucking amazing. Oh my god. Alright, ain't no way. Alright, I'm just gonna fucking grab whatever arrows I can. Back. If there are any. I don't think there are. Whatever. Oh well. Things. I don't have a sticky thing. So I have to maneuver up this mountain. Up this mountain. I know I keep looking at him, but it's so pretty. Like I know. I keep looking at him, I know. I'm aware. He's so fucking pretty. What else am I supposed to do? I'm a glider. He's so cool now. It's probably annoying, I'm sorry. But like, also I'm not. Cause I fucking love those dragons. They're a little annoying sometimes. They, honestly and truthfully, they are a little bit annoying sometimes. Ugh. Jesus. But also not even nearly as annoying as you, like, come to expect. Weird. But, like, why? Hold up. Huh? pieces of wood, 120 rupees. I was cold from the rain, so I used them to warm up. Nobody called that a waste. 3 tents, 300 rupees. We needed a few more tents. Okay. But like, now what the fuck am I supposed to do? Shit. Shit all is what I'm supposed to do. Ow, fuck. My elbow. I have definitely complained about gamer elbow before. And it is, still a thing. What the fuck is that? Ow. There's a shield. Just thorny all over, bro. There's no way around the thorns. There's nothing I can do. Are you fucking kidding me? There's nothing I can do about getting to this tower. Except for climbing it, I guess. Nope. Apparently not. Jesus Christ. Oh, that's fucking right. I can't climb in the fucking stupid fucking rain. God damn it. God, piece of shit. God damn it. Alright, Link. Chill. We're gonna chill. Oh, the fact that I did this is stupid as fuck. God damn it. Yeah, okay. The fact that I did this is stupid as fuck. Why did I do that? Why did I end up here? Or out here. Why did I do this? Poor restaurant. Okay. I'm sorry about whatever you're talking about. Tomato. I used rice. Oh, shit. Okay. Wow. Set to morning, see if this fucking works.
The glow of the blood-stained moon shines upon the land.
Yeah. Oh my god. Is it just raining forever, bro? What the fuck? Can't climb the tower if it's gonna fucking rain. This is a fucking joke. This is a joke and a half. Are you fucking kidding me? Can't get over here. Can I reach the building materials? Great, so now I'm here. Nothing else I can do but wait. I literally cannot do anything. God damn it. Why did I do that? I don't know. Stop. Wait till morning. Again. If it is still raining, I'm gonna fucking... Okay, I'm like, if it's still fucking raining, I'm going to throw my shit. It is, but it'll stop. You're joking? Not too heavy, Link. Alright, this bitch just needs to fucking stop raining. I'm just here, waiting for it to stop. This is so fucking annoying. So fucking annoying. It's so fucking annoying, Jesus Christ. There's so many fallen rocks. I could have just found a fallen rock by now and just, you know, went from there. Instead I skipped literally 2 days. Should have just found a fallen rock. Just, you know, done it like that. Because this is fucking ridiculous. It's all get out. That it has been raining non-fucking stop. This is worse than Florida. Believe it or not, it is worse than Florida. No. I'm gonna get my stamina back. It's like, dude, I am at the tower. I want to fucking finish it. This tower and the other one that I saw that I marked, the red one. It's almost bad. And I almost fucking rage quit for the night. FYI. I have 4 more towers after this one. I might be able to make it to that last one tonight before I finish that one. Oh, that's around the castle of that corruption, right? Oh, you fucking shit. Are you kidding me? What is this fucking tower called, dude? What is this tower called? Rebella Wetlands Tower. Setting them on fire. Okay. There's only one problem. It's always raining. God damn, are you fucking right? Almost always raining. See, the problem is I was actually going to set it on fire, too. And I didn't. Now for this minute cutscene, where I'm gonna pour away my chalky milk. I'll be right back. I genuinely do hate needing to get the same exact map again after doing it before. It's the most tedious part of this game. Like, of any of these games. Where is the other tower? Where's the castle? 'Cause I need to find it from there. Where the fuck am I? In God's name. There we go. Where is the fucking tower that I... It's over this way. Oh, there it is. Jesus Christ. I'm not gonna be able to make it at Sky Island. Fuck. could've. I should've. Oh, good. Well, at least... It's a fucking ferry. I'm gonna die in here. Oops. Great. At least I can do that again. Where I'm not searching for the fucking tower. God damn it. I wanted to make it to that island. There's no other sky islands. Other than that one right there. Between me and... Well, maybe that's a sky island. But, like, I can't make it there. So I still have to go down to that stable right there. Don't actually know where the, what's it called? What is it called? What was I thinking? I don't know. Shrine is for this stable. That's the Twin Peak Towers, though, right there. Found them. I asked where those were. Oh, wait. Hi. I think I literally just saw that. On the Great Ferry. One tower there, and there's another tower over that way. I don't know where this shrine is, though. There's a shrine by every single... Oh, there, I guess. How dare those Vega. It sounds... actually terrible. Stamina mushrooms. No! Fucking piece of shit. God damn you, Link. I would've had more fucking more. Oh. Holy shit. I'll make dubious for them or something. Bitter powder makes them inedible. Damn it. Spread the cloud of fine spores from a stimulus is applied? I don't know what a stimulus is. Okay, cold attack. Interesting. Is there anything else I can add this to now? This, I mean. Fuse attack power most used by type. I like by type. Hi, Beetle.
Wow! Wow! Woohoo!
God damn, dude.
Yay!
Thanks. I'm done. Great Sky Island right there? Interesting. I'm pretty sure it is. Nope. That one felt too long ago, apparently. Ah, no. Link, what the fuck? Jesus. I accidentally pressed X, but then whenever you jump on a mountain, he jumps downward. Like a fucking piece of shit. Like a suicidal motherfucker. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that word on stream, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Eshos Shrine. I keep staring at Spider-Man. I just always stare at Spider-Man. Fuck me. Fucking hate combat training, bro. Because it's just a tutorial and I hate tutorials. Yeah. Uh-huh. I can't skip you and you're an asshole! Uh-huh. Cool. Oh, well, I tried. Definitely pressed A. Damn it. Oh my god. Alright, now I'm pressing A too fucking vigorously. I need to stop. There we go. What the fuck? Bullshit. Fuck. That wasn't bullshit. I thought I did it right. Oh my god. There it is. Damn it. How? Damn it. How? Literally how? What the fuck? Literally how? Fucking what? How did that happen? Oh my god. I swear to god, if you tell me all that shit, like, heed my warning, shit. Don't you fucking dare. Oh my god! I hate this shit so fucking bad. I hate this shit so fucking bad. Am I able to, like, did she say I can attack? Damn it. What the actual fuck? I swear to god I'm doing it right. How am I parrying and still getting damaged? Damn it, I pressed A and it doesn't, half the time it doesn't even fucking register my A. Dude, why am I getting so fucking hurt by parrying? I should not be getting this much damage from parrying. What the fuck is going on? What the hell is going on? If I don't like, how am I getting so much fucking damage? I should not. How is it doing that badly? Holy shit, dude. God damn it. Press A and it doesn't fucking work, and when it does, it's bullshit. Oh my god. Oh my god. What in the actual fucking world? You should just be dying. How am I supposed to do this properly, dude? There. Oh my god. Are you kidding me? You're not done. Oh my god. Oops. Work. Yeah. Bullshit. Fucking bullshit. Fucking horse fucking bullshit. Unless you're gonna give me something good. Very much so, dude. Give me something good, at least. And obviously it's a shield that you're giving me, that makes sense. Oh my god, this was one of the most frustrating fucking shrines in the entire goddamn world. Holy shit. One of the worst fucking shrines I've ever had to deal with in my goddamn life. Now I need to pray. Please. I can get 2 things, and I want 1 heart, 1 stamina. Please. Good. Sticky frog. That's what I wanted. I must have had the other thing that lets me do what I want to do. That is that Great Sky Island? Right above me? Yeah, it is. What the fuck? It doesn't, on the map it doesn't show that it's right above me, but you know, it is. I don't know why it doesn't show that it's right above me. Shit. Shit. God damn it. I didn't even pay attention. Oh my god, just eat it already. I didn't even pay attention. I should have. Because now I'm all the way down here. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Excuse me. It's a beautiful moon. The light from it gives me a nice casting. The blood moon is bullshit. I really hope there's a post-Ganon world here. I hope this game has a post-Ganon, because I like having post-adventure deals. No, you should be fine. God, fuck you, Link. Actually, fuck you. Yeah, alright, all the way down. Actually, go fuck yourself, Link. Actually. That is the shittiest fucking shit, dude. This one. That was so shit, dude. That was so absolute shit. Go fuck yourself, Link. Yeah, finish the shrine. That was so shit. The climbing is so fucking annoying, dude. Have some fucking stamina here, Link. Oh shit. It's not what I meant to do. So I'm glad that worked out, because I would have been so fucking pissed. A lot of these are just making me want to rage quit for the night. Get a good night's sleep and come back to this game tomorrow. Feeling, I don't know, the least bit more refreshed, I guess. The absolute least bit more refreshed. Because there's really nothing else I can really do. Don't like the shrines from last, because that's where the shrine was last game. I don't like that they aren't there anymore. It's really actually depressing. Where's the shock fruit that I just got? Oh, I missed. There. Okay, that's fine. Blue Moblin Horn, Moblin Fang. That it? Seared steak. Thank you. I think it's up here. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. So, there's that tower, the red one, and the blue one, and I should be able to get from that tower to the top of the peak to the other tower, right? It's like exactly what I should be able to do. One tower, to the top of the peak to the other tower. I feel like that's exactly what I should be able to do. I might have gone to the wrong tower first, but I don't care right now, honestly. Aiming for over there. I should be aiming for that, but also I don't really want another shrine right now. Excuse me, I want... It's like that tower's really fucking close. Okay, I think that's enemy base. fuck are you? Oh, you're another fucking Korok. God damn it. Bro sucks. I'm sorry. Like, I like getting the seeds, I do. Because, you know, they're nice. But, like, it sucks, bro. I'm sorry, not sorry. God fucking piece of shit. Oh great, I'm going into the fucking depths for you? No, I'm not. Okay. Oh my god. Alright. Don't really care about a claymore, but I guess I'll trade you for that. Hi.
Oh. Oh.
Okay. Great. I'm gonna have to get back out. Which is how? How exactly? Am I doing this? This is how I'm doing this. No, it's not. Shit. God damn it. How the hell am I getting out of here? Literally, how the hell am I getting out of here? There's no way. Link is just stuck in this place. No, he's not. I'm just an idiot. God damn it. Hello? Link? Oh boy. I don't have anything for stamina. It is very fucking possible that I am genuinely just stuck here. It is very possible. It's because I didn't pray before this. We're gonna hope. Oh no, okay. I should be fine. Maybe. I imagine I am. Heck. Oh. No. Fucking goddamn it. Like, what am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to do for this one? There's no, like, direction to do any of these. And it kind of pisses me off. Definitely went to the wrong one first. Again. Cave entrance. This way, I think. That's how he pointed. Something. Yeah, here. Yeah. Fuck off. Yeah, Foothills excavation site. Oh. Okay. How am I supposed to do this properly? Huh? Huh. Maybe this is how. Hold up. Another bullet gem. Okay. Maybe I can just step on the switch. Possible. Actually, try it. Yeah. Thanks. Urgent business with the tower. Yeah, you fucking do. Yeah, you fucking do. How do I open this one? I don't know. This ain't gonna be enough, is it? Oh, it is. Interesting. But like... Oh. Okay. Cool. Okay, I saved your ass. I'll save my fucking tower. Okay, fine. Huh. I know I'm able to go from tower to peak to tower, so I think that is what I'm going to do. What the fuck? Is that just a bird? Ah, why? Link! Holy shit, dude. Fucking dumbest mechanic is him fucking yeeting off of a goddamn mountain like he wants to fucking die. What a fucking dumbass. Holy shit. Oh my god. 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 I really hope this next tower is the fucking easiest shit in the world so I can log off and get the fuck to sleep. So I can stop being so irritable, because this is fucking ruining my life. This is ruining my day. This is ruining everything. Oh my god. Like, I know a lot of it is because I'm fucking exhausted as shit, but that is so fucking dumb. That is the worst fucking mechanic. That he just fucking yeets himself off of a goddamn mountain. It's so fucking stupid. Fucking dumbass. Great, and there's a fucking hurricane. Wait, what the? Okay. I want to be on top of the Twin Peaks again. Where the fuck are they? Where the fuck am I? Where is... It's here. It's... this way? Oh, it's right there. So I guess, yeah, go over here. Over here should be fine. The Western include Sky Archipelago. Okay. Great, wow, love you. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Throw. Well, that was a stupid way to throw that. Wasn't it? Oh, it's a fairy. Oh, one of these, just in case I fucking die. Okay, nothing down there. Just water. Nope, don't you fucking dare. Honestly, doing this until it dies is fine by me. Another staple? No. Okay, I just made an assumption just then. Ooh. That's another shrine. That was so fucking dumb. What the shit are you? Oh fuck. It's definitely not a tower I need to fucking climb, right? God damn you.
Yeah. Oh.
God damn you. But the nearby caves will have some tasty mushrooms. Why do I have to go to caves and get some fucking mushrooms? Are you kidding me? I said easiest shit ever and this ain't it. Easiest shit ever and this ain't fucking it. Are you fucking kidding me? No, I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. So, fun fact, no. Sucks for you. There's a fucking cave. Christ, dude. Nice. down here. Oh my god, really? You fucking serious? Oh, great. And there's bullshittingtons. Where's the claymore that I got? I need more bombs. I need more things that can fucking explode. Apparently. Oh my god. And I don't think there is anything. Like, there's just that. This ain't gonna do shit either. Nothing I have can explode. Take it back. Like that thing can. No, go over there. What are you doing? Ow. Why did you... What the fuck? Where's the fucking time bomb there? Well, why can't I? Why not? Yeah, fuck you. Can I fucking stick it to one of these things? Where are you? Through the wall now. What did I do? What the hell? I can only carry 4 shields? What the fuck kind of bullshit did I do? Oh, really? Oh, fucking really? Oh my god. I'm like, there ain't no goddamn way. I don't have anything else boom boom wise, huh? That's a light, that's a battery. I'm like, there ain't no way. Swear to God, if this guy doesn't accept this shit as fucking gospel, I'm going to fucking kill him.
Oh.
I fucking hate you. I really fucking hate you. There is no fucking words that I can give you that isn't just I fucking hate you. You are the worst piece of absolute trash. I fucking hate you. Are you kidding me? Oh, I need some mushrooms from a cave. I don't need anything else. Mushrooms from a cave. I absolutely fucking hate you. Like, no other words. Literally nothing else. Just hate. There's nothing else in my fucking mind except for hatred for you. Truly. Nothing I can use for bombs to get more into that cave than I was. I have nothing. And I fucking hate him. Because what the hell else am I supposed to do? Great, Amber, thanks. Like, can't find any other food that he wants. Has to be something from a cave. Kakariko Village. I was thinking about this village. This village was in my mind. Give me something that I can use for bombs.
Oh. Ma. Ah. 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 Ma. Ah. Oh.
Homing quality to the arrow. Great. Eyeball gives it homing quality. Give me something for bombs, bro. Please. Pretty please. A fucking cherry on top. Pretty please. Because what the hell else am I supposed to do? Heart container, yes. Thank you. And stamina is the next thing. I have 4 more, by the way. It's hidden by my face, but I have 4 more. Yay. I have 8 now. Yeah, if you can't tell, I am so fucking pissed off. And I just want to go to bed. Got nothing I can use for bombs or anything, do you? Fucking town of bullshit. So genuinely mad. How are bomb flowers the only things for bombs? How is that the only thing I can use for a fucking bomb? I don't have bombs in my hand. Maybe. No. Tears of the Kingdom. Ultra Infuse, Ascend, Recall, Auto Build. Is there nothing else? There's one more thing. Holy shit. There's the fucking shrine. That's what I want. So I can save this place. Makasura. Upright device. What the fuck are you? What the fuck? Oh. Okay. No, I have no idea where to go. Or what to do, or anything. Is there like a bowl there? Oh. But I can't do this. Like, what the fuck is this? It's just like half a ball that I have to fucking put together? Oh, no. Oh, wait. No, I understand. I understand. Okay. And I'm about to fling myself, right? Just realized it's still turned on. Oh shit. Okay, well, hold on. Hold on. I apparently need to be taller. Ah, no, you fucking piece of shit. Fucking. God damn it. No, don't attach it to this. The actual fuck? Why would you do that? Fucking dumbass. Okay. Ow. Now I only have one spirit ball thing. Light of the blessing. Let's see if this thing gives me bombs. So if it does, I can go right back to that fucking piece of shit. Where am I going? I don't know. Why am I using it? Why am I doing that? I don't fucking know. I don't know why I did that. Great, cool, thanks. So it doesn't do what I wanted it to. It's not, doesn't give me a bomb. So many grow bombs. Anybody fucking grow bombs? Probably not, right? You have fucking nothing. What the shit?
Hi.
Okay, I don't care.
Ah.
Jesus Christ, these are both 600. Let me sell this. Fuck. Why not? Ooh. I want something nice.
Ah. Ah.
Like this is the fucking worst shit. This is the fucking worst shit, dude. Travel. Hate that tower. Oh, I want to get mushrooms from a cave to fucking do anything. Because I'm a fucking asshole. So I'm a fucking piece of shit. Who doesn't want you to do anything successful. Doesn't want you to be successful. Doesn't want you to do anything good. I just want to be a dick. Yeah, believe you. There's apparently a stable right there. I did not know that. Maybe I did know that. Because that's a shrine. Maybe I did know that. Hold up. Maybe I did know that. Oh yeah. That's the stable. Okay. Anyways. This is the way that I need to go. So I'm looking the opposite direction. Bye. Whoa. It goes through the rock. Somehow. Hold up. It goes through the rock somehow. I don't think I noticed that before. Actually, no, I know. Obviously, I fucking didn't notice that. Dumbass. Obviously. Obviously not. Wish I had an easier way to get to Terrytown, right? That'd be sick. Yeah. Hi. You give me a shrine. What the fuck? Maybe it won't give me a shrine. Hello? Oh my god, there's a fucking tower right there. Wait a minute. Huh? Where? Huh? Okay. How the fuck is that tower so fucking far away? It looks like it's right there. What the shit? Ah, sorry. That was mean. That was rude. Okay, so like, what the fuck happened? Obviously it's right there, but like, what the fuck happened? I'll look it up at a different time, I don't care that much. Can I teleport to these? No, it just tells me what I can get through it. What I have gotten through it, I guess. Okay. Whatever. Just get me to Terrytown so I can have a house. That's all I want now. I don't want to do anything else today. This is the last thing I want. I'll figure out bombs and shit next time. What was I supposed to figure out with this? What? But... Whee! Okay. Looks like they don't really care. They don't care about innovation, I guess. Not really. No, just waiting for this shit. Just staring at this. Are you gonna fall off, Link? No, you're just What the fuck? You are like a mute point for some reason. It's so fucking weird. Anyway. Did he yell at me? I'm gonna say no. I don't know. Where is she? Where is she? I want a house. There's a shrine over in that direction, okay? Home on a range. Oh my god, you have bombs. Oh my god. Never mind. Hold up. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. I'm gonna sell whatever the fuck I can. Fucking... Sell these. Sell them all. Sure. Fucking... Sell these. Sell them all. Sure. Sell these. Sell however many I have, minus one. Whoops. Actually, I think 146 is fine. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Ah, damn. Okay, hold on. I need to sell one more thing. That's fine. There. Your name is Pelican? Oh no, it's Faisal. Can't believe I haven't been to that shrine yet. That specific shrine. Oh my god. This is gonna be my house. Dandelion. Hurts him. Here. Maybe that's what I heard. Maybe. It's possible that I heard fucking moving trees. This plot of land is what is mine now, right? Right outside of Terrytown. It is interesting. As they're expanding. Teleport here now. That's all I really want.
Oh. Ah. Ah. Oh.
2 rooms to get me started. Yes, please. I'll buy everything else whenever I can.
Ah.
Oh, does that mean that I can move them myself?
Ah.
Yeah.
Mmm. Oh. Ah.
Obviously, I want this to be more front and center.
Oh.
Done for now.
Ah. Ah. Oh.
Oh.
Ah.
Like, that's fucking crazy. Then I don't have any fucking walls. Okay. Okay.
Ah. Ah. Oh. Mmm. Ah. Ah. Oh.
Just say I'm done for now. It's fine. I'll do whatever I can later.
Ah.
Actually, what am I doing?
Ah. Mmm.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is the last thing I do, and then I'm done for the night.
Ah.
These towers are so goddamn frustrating. Genuinely. Okay, that's it.
Ah. Mmm.
For now. Obviously, for now. Thanks. I'll be able to look out over Terrytown. Figure out placements and everything later, but there. That's what I wanted. Okay. And now... Oh. Interesting. I don't want that. I'm done. Jesus. Thank you guys so much for being here. I guess. Thank you, Buff, for first and then, you know, talking and joining in. I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry I got so fucking aggro. I got so mad. Genuinely, I got so fucking mad. You can tell. But thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time, probably tomorrow. With some more shit. But thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. Have a good one. Bye.